I'm with Todd Morehead and Justin Kron, producers and creators of the film October 7th, Bearing a Witness to a Massacre. Now, we've spoken before, but what's this film about?
Yeah, Paul, thanks for having us back on. The film is about October 7. I mean, just like the title says, the subtitle is Bearing Witness to the Massacre, where we went back to Israel in May of 24, of course, after the October 7, 2023 invasion of Israel by Hamas, to bear witness to what happened to the Israelis and to others who were impacted by this tragic event, meeting with survivors of the Nova Festival, a former hostage. Also spoke with historians, educators who informed us about the history of Gaza and the rise of Hamas leading up to October 7. We thought it was really important that viewers understand the historical context to October 7, especially because there was so much misinformation, just propaganda related to the history, rewriting history to make it look like Hamas was just merely resisting Israeli oppression, which, if you know anything about the history of the region, it's way more complicated than that. Hamas is a jihadist organization that seeks the complete destruction of Israel. They're in a long line of other jihadists, and this is the history that we thought was very important for people to understand, and this is what's brought out in the film at the first part before we cover then the events of October 7.
Now, it's an excellent film, but you've just won an award for the film, the Gold Crown Award. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we won the Gold Crown Award at the International Christian Visual Media Awards held in Nashville, Tennessee. It was in February. It's at the NRB conference, and it was amazing. We were really proud to take that award home, and ultimately we hope that more people will watch the film as a result of the recognition the film has received.
Yeah, I should also add that the film has become the best-selling film on Prime Video in the United States related to the events of October 7. And it can be accessed through Prime in the US and in the UK. And there are other streaming platforms like YouTube Movies and Apple TV, etc., that you can access the film in other countries. The most, I should mention this, especially if there are listeners in countries, say like Germany or some of the other maybe Asian-speaking countries, the best platform would be an American-based platform called Salem Now, which is a conservative and Christian media platform, again, here in the United States, which is the most accessible worldwide.
For those who don't know, what are the Crown Awards?
Yeah, I'll just say the Crown Awards, which are sponsored by the International Christian Media Visual Association. It's essentially the Christian equivalent to the Golden Globe Awards. So if you're interested in films and other media resources that are in alignment with Christian values, then the International Christian Visual Media Association is the place that honors those projects and programs.
It must be very satisfying receiving an award for your work.
Really just a fantastic honor to be recognized. This is actually our second time that we've won the Gold Crown Award. Our previous film, Hope in the Holy Land, Delving Beneath the Surface of the Israeli-Palestinian Conflict, won for Best Documentary. It should be said that October 7 won for Best Non-Theatrical Feature, which is in some sense a bigger category. And we had hoped to get the film into theaters in the United States. That didn't work out. And so we released direct to streaming platforms as well as to the Daystar Network, who broadcast the film. And so, yeah, just really nice to be recognized. And most importantly, I think what we need to say is that we really do dedicate this film to the people of Israel, and just hope that it can be used to tell their story and especially to honor the memory of the victims of that day.
Is it difficult to get a film into a theater?
Yes, very difficult. It's something that we haven't succeeded in yet. We hope to, maybe for a future film. But yeah, it's extremely hard. You got to have the right resources and connections and a lot of money, really.
Yeah, it often comes down to resources, But, in this particular case, from what we were told from an insider in the industry, is that it really became a safety issue for movie theaters to host screenings of a film called October 7, especially in the midst of a lot of the anti-Israel, pro-Hamas demonstrations and even anti-Semitic attacks that were happening in the U.S., that it would just have been too risky for theaters to host a screening of the film. So, I mean, I can't entirely blame them for that. I mean, they are in the business of making money, and they certainly don't want to do anything that might detract or potentially create a situation where people don't want to go to movie theaters.
It seems quite crazy in some ways to say that you're making a documentary about something that's happened, and because of that you could be threatened with violence. It seems crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a state of the union for not only the U.S. but also globally of what's going on and how anti-Semitism is through the roof. Yeah, we made a film to bear witness to what happened, and people are afraid of being attacked by anti-Semites, and it's real. I mean, that's what's actually happening in our country. So yeah, it's a very sad situation. I didn't ever think I would see this situation in my lifetime.
How has the film been received around the world, and how many people have seen it?
Well, we've been receiving a lot of really encouraging feedback. There was a message that we received just a couple of months ago from a woman named Maria. I'm going to not share her last name just for the sake of protecting her identity, but lives in North Carolina. Told me I had a conversation with her after she messaged us. She told me she's liberal and really had just only heard from one side of the conflict. And she got curious and decided to Google October 7 to see if there was anything that she could find about what happened on October 7, watch the film, and then afterwards, this is what she wrote us. She wrote, "I just wanted to say that watching your documentary single-handedly changed everything I thought I knew about the war. I am so ashamed. I went 2+ years not knowing these atrocities had happened and only ever paying attention to one side. I'm sharing this film with everyone I know. Thank you for making it. I hope more of the world finally wakes up." And as you can imagine, that's one of the most encouraging messages we've received. And there's been others, and the reception has been very, very positive. A lot of people, I think, who are afraid to watch it because of the content. I will, certainly say it is a heavy film, but we did the best that we possibly could to blur things that needed to be blurred and to cut, certain images so that we didn't linger too long on anything too graphic. But I think it very fairly portrays what happened on that day.
Now you have a new project, JIHAD, the war on Israel and the West. Tell us about that film that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, there's other films that Justin and I really want to do, but we felt, and through a lot of prayer, we felt that this film needs to be made now. Like as if we wish we could have it out right now, but really it's going to tackle the problem that we have in the West of radical Islam and the threat they are to all of Judeo-Christian values. And so we're excited to, we're going to start raising funds for this film, and we've got a whole list of amazing people we want to interview. And I really believe that this can wake up those people, not just Americans, but anybody who loves their country and loves their Western values, meaning their Judeo-Christian roots. I believe once they learn what radical Islam is all about and how they actually want to take over the West and want to destroy Judeo-Christian values, many people will wake up and they will not only begin to support Israel, because Israel is on the front line of this battle. They battle it every day. But they will also begin to advocate for defending the Judeo-Christian values of their own countries.
Yeah, I'll just add that the working title for the film is JIHAD, the War on Israel and the West. And as Todd mentioned, really important for people to understand that Israel's war is also our war, that Israel's enemies are also our enemies. And that enemy in particular are radical Islamists. In fact, I think you might even want to call them Islamic supremacists who want to take over the world.
Do you fear that we're going to see more and more of this, particularly at the moment with Israel and America going into Iran and dealing with Iran's nuclear capabilities? Do you think we're going to see more and more radical Islam or like sleeper cells on the streets in America and in the UK and in the West?
I'll say to that, I do. These things ebb and flow. It's not like it's one consistent faucet of water that's pouring out of jihad, of events that occur. I mean, it happens in spurts, but we've already been seeing this throughout the world for the last 25 plus years. I mean, you just look at the events of 9/11 just as one example, really, of many Islamic radical attacks, terrorist attacks that have happened, and so I think we're gonna see that happen. We don't anticipate that the jihadists are going to stop waging their war against Western civilization, even if regimes like the one in Iran is deterred, and other organizations like Hezbollah and Hamas, the Houthis, etc., are dismantled or significantly sidelined. This is an ideology that we're fighting, and again, as Todd made very clear, it's really about, I think, a battle of values. It's a battle of civilizations that are rooted in particular values. For us in the West, our values are deeply rooted into the Judeo-Christian foundations of the Bible.
Real quick, whether there's more sleeper cells or not, I'm not sure. I think it's a great question. I'm more worried about how young people in the West have been won over by an anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian narrative, and they don't even have enough information to reject it. They don't have enough knowledge to combat these lies. And it's a narrative that is very carefully curated by Islamists and far left Marxists. And I think it's extremely important that we educate people of Judeo-Christian heritage that the battle Israel faces every single day against Islamists, it's a battle already raging here in America. And we can look at places like London, and London perhaps has already lost this battle. So we don't have to look too far. I think it's more of a matter of waking Americans up to it and kind of rattling their cage. I heard a quote yesterday that it's really hard to convince somebody that bad weather is coming when it's sunny. It's like a thing for everybody, that it's hard to conceive of bad weather when it's sunny out. And I think people just don't want to consider it. And if we continue doing this for too long, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, that was sort of my next question. Do you fear a sense of justification for radical Islam? Because, after October the 7th, we see pro-Palestinian marches, we see students doing their student protests. Do you fear that, if we're going to see radical Islam on the streets, wherever, that there will be a real sense of justification from the left, from the students, and from pro-Palestinian marchers?
Absolutely. And this is what happens when we allow our universities to be taken over by Marxist ideologies, and we allow Qatar and other foreign countries who are against us to pour billions of dollars into our schools and change our schools, and so that we think differently about Israel and we think differently about Judeo-Christian values. And I think they have been playing the long game with this for very long, and it worked out wonderfully for them. And you don't have to look any further than on October 8th, 2023, when Israel faced the worst atrocities since the Holocaust. And rather than people coming out and being against Hamas, they were, on campuses, they were pro-Hamas. How'd that happen? Right. I think this is the problem.
Yeah, we're fighting for hearts and minds.
We're seeing the Islamification of the West and Europe with mass migration, and in the US as well. Is this a timely film?
Extremely timely. So timely that it needed to be out yesterday. So just pray for us that God provides the funding and the open doors that we need to get this project done sooner than later.
What does it cost to make a film like this?
Films like this cost around $400,000. That's our budget. That's the production budget, and then it always helps to have marketing dollars behind a film. So the more you have, the better. There's really never enough, and so it's safe to say that a feature documentary like this cost at least $500,000.
And where will you film this?
The goal is to get started with production the second half of 2026, so this year, finish up production or the interviews that we need to do in the first half of 27, and then do post-production, and then hopefully get the film ready to be released in the fall of 27.
And will you be filming this in like the US and in Israel?
So most of the interviews we will do here in the US, probably flying some people in. We may not need to go to Israel for this. We already have a lot of content that we've captured from previous filming trips, although there's probably going to need to be a trip to London and some domestic trips, maybe to Dearborn, Michigan, New York City, other places in the US where Islam, radical Islam, is on the rise.
What is your prayer for the whole project?
Oh, wow. Well, that God guides us and leads us, for one, that we get our direction first and foremost from him, and it's something from his heart, and then that we get the funding we need in a timely manner, and we get, we can get this important project done and out to the world.
Yeah, I second everything Todd just said.
What's the website for people who'd like to know more about the work that you do and perhaps see the film October 7th, Bearing Witness?
Yeah, they can go to October7, the number 7 film.com. So October7film.com.
As well, let me throw in, as well as our previous film, people can go to hopeintheholyland.com and see that's a very important film as well. It dives deeper into the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, answers more some of those deeper questions people have.
Well, Justin and Todd, thank you very much for sharing today.
Thank you, Paul, for having us on.